As Benjamin Netanyahu settles into yet another term, it's still unclear how he will pull together the country in one direction to achieve a balanced economy. Here to share thoughts on how to bridge the disenchantment divide, Dr. Pippa Malmgren, former economic advisor to U.S. President George W. Bush. We know that Israel, of course, is one of the few economies that really rebounded from the economic crisis, yet we are seeing pollsters unanimously in agreement about the fact that the disenchantment divide, as I mentioned, is wider than ever before. How would you propose that the Prime Minister bridge it?
Well, actually, they have exactly the same problem that we find in the United States. One of the side effects of quantitative easing and the responses to the financial crisis is that it's made asset prices go up, but not necessarily improve the quality of job creation. And so people who own assets are doing better, and people who don't feel left behind. And that disenchantment divide, that's a kind of a global phenomena, actually. So that's one issue. But the second issue is also Israel has an additional layer of uncertainty around it because of geopolitical issues. And it's a fascinating moment in history because the President of the United States is, of course, trying to cut a deal with the Iranians so that he can have something for his legacy, along with a deal for Cuba. So something goes in the history books, but for Israel, they consider that like a mortal threat, interestingly, as does Saudi. And so that adds an additional layer of uncertainty to investing in financial markets. And I think Netanyahu doesn't have an easy answer for that.
And as the strain grows, we don't know what's going to happen in the next election campaign in the U.S. and whether that'll be a positive or a negative for Netanyahu. So if we focus internally on moving the economy forward, tell me, how committed do you think he is to really redistributing wealth? Or is he so preoccupied, as you said, with some of these looming concerns that have really come to define his prime ministership?
Well, one of the reasons that Israel is such an interesting economy to watch is because it has the second largest venture capital market in the world after the United States, which is saying something given how small it is. It's a highly entrepreneurial economy. Very difficult to make the argument that you should tax the rich harder in order to pay for those who are less well off. It's a kind of wealthy man's economy. And so they're going to lean a little bit in favor of letting the rich invest their capital and build new jobs. And I mean, I have to say, I lean that way myself, given that more than 60-70% of most new jobs are created by firms that employ less than 50 people. So I don't think that Netanyahu wants to destroy that culture of entrepreneurship. But on the other hand, he can't afford, just as President Obama can't afford, for those who are not in the culture of entrepreneurship to feel so left behind that they'll throw the leadership out.
And market indications tell me that, as you said, he's really propping up this entrepreneurial spirit. Bank of Israel, of course, cut its benchmark rate to a record low, which tells me that they are very much looking to put their high-tech growth sector in overdrive, right? If that's driving the economy, how long are we going to have to wait till we see it settle down to the bottom so everyone reaps those benefits?
Well, this is an open question. I don't think anybody can answer it. But I do think that the level of technological innovation that's occurring in the world economy today is genuinely historic. That we have begun a kind of third industrial revolution. We've had 25 years of a software revolution, and now we're creating a hardware revolution. And Israel is definitely a major participant in that effort. So I'm pretty confident that it's happening fast.
Do you think voter fatigue as a byproduct of all of the spending on the military in Israel is going to be resolved through greater innovation?
Well, I think there's some hope of that. I think people also hope that the new gas fields that have been found off the coast of Israel, that they will also perform the same role, that they will create a new source of wealth, energy independence for the nation. I think actually it's going to be a tricky thing, because the last thing the Russians want to see is the development of independent gas fields that weaken their lock on Western Europe. I think the rest of the region is full of turmoil. Dubai has emerged as a new haven for hot money as everything is disintegrated around it. And this is difficult for Israel because they have a very uncertain environment they're trying to operate in.